And happy Monday. Happy Monday, everybody. This is your girl, Christal Jordan, and it's Reality Check, and it's a special, loving reality check. I guess we do special reality checks every single week. But for me, if you know anything about me, I am a huge fan of Married at First Sight. It is one of my favorite shows. It is probably the show I enjoy binge watching the absolute most. So, if you've watched Married at First Sight, then my next guest is going to be no surprise. He's actually one of my favorite experts on the show. We've been trying to get him on for quite a while, but the new season of Married at First Sight started based here in Atlanta. So I'm so happy to welcome my guest for tonight, Pastor Cal.
Hey, what's up? What's up?
Hey, welcome. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Wow, 2021.
2020, we made it, right? We made it.
No, man, boy, what a start.
What a start. What a start. But you all are back with an all new season 12. Congratulations on season 12 of Married at First Sight.
You believe that? 12 seasons?
12 seasons of getting people married at first sight.
It's awesome, actually. This is my my 9th season, I believe.
Wow. Wow.
I'm pretty excited.
I love your advice. You and Dr. Pepper and all the experts are great, but you guys have been there for so long, and you're such we get to actually see you counsel the couples. And I think that advice can be used for, couples watching the show or even singles watching the show. Before we get into everything that is Married at First Sight, I want to ask, do you think that this show and the way it presents relationships has a lesson about marriage? Is there a lesson about marriage within the show?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know it seems a little unconventional for Western standards, getting married at first sight, but there's a definite lesson in the fact that, we have over 70,000 people who've applied. Lets me know that the first lesson that's really clear to me is that people still believe in marriage. People still want marriage. They still want a stable relationship. I grew up, in the 70s, the best generation, and and I believe that there was a lot of free love, living together, whatever. But I think that what we are showing in our show is that people actually, they're tired of swiping left and right. They want something that's solid. Haven't you ever thought that you wanted to just bypass all the dating and all the crap that comes with it and just get to the good stuff?
Absolutely.
That's what we do. We bypass all that stuff and take all of your information and all the other person's information, and we make compatible matches. And it's a lot of fun and very rewarding to see couples and families create it.
Well, I'm a fan of the show, and I also follow you on Instagram. And what I love about the fact that we get a chance to see you giving tips on marriage, you've been married for years yourself. And so you're actually giving advice on something that is a very real thing for you.
Yeah.
Do you learn from, are you able to take things from your own marriage and apply that to the couples and then vice versa?
You kidding me, Chris? Absolutely. My marriage, is sort of the testing ground. My marriage is kind of like the laboratory. But my wife and I, we were first married very young. So we're second timers, and we were married very young, and it didn't work out. And so this time around, we actually took the lessons from our failures as well as from our current successes, and we pour all that into what we do, because I don't just play a relationship expert on TV. I actually do this in real life.
In real life, right. That's a great one. I don't just do it for TV. This really is my life's work.
It is. So when we have marriage conferences, we do private counseling for couples, and I'm always learning and always sort of like continuing education, from not only from the couples that I learn, but from whatever I can, just extrapolate from what I read and from, trends, et cetera, et cetera. We're always developing and moving.
Right. Well, that's a good question. I had so many questions came to me when I told people that I was talking to you. But one of the things, and I see this even in the comments right now, is do you think that Married at First Sight will ever have second time around couples? Would they have opportunities for people that have been married or, are a little bit more seasoned in life to have that? Because everybody wants that chance at romance, even if it's the second time around, right?
Absolutely. And in fact, for the season, we are opening it up, and I think I've said that in the matchmaking special. One of our couples is a second timer,
Mm-hmm.
so that's something that with every season we're developing, we're
Right.
moving. The main reason we didn't want people who have been previously married, quite often there are children involved, and we will not do a married at first sight couple with children. It's just too traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, that's something we're definitely opening to. It,
Good.
I'm so excited about that. I'm so excited.
Yeah, that's that. And I think that give because a lot of people I feel don't they almost give up on love if they don't get it right the first time or they go through some hardship, they don't feel worthy of that spark and those butterflies and falling in love again.
Absolutely. And look, a failed marriage does not equate to being a failed person. Sometimes two good people just don't make a good match. And that's what I find most of the time, with our couples. I mean,
Mhm.
they're not bad people, even though, I get so many emails and DMs telling me how horrible certain people are. Look, good people make bad decisions.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
good people do stupid stuff.
Right.
Now there's some bad people, okay, who kind of they kind of tricked us.
Right.
But generally they're good people who just sometimes make stupid decisions.
Speaking of that, I know that there's been some challenges. You guys have had some huge successes, especially this past season. I think this past season in New Orleans was my absolute favorite because
Yeah.
you guys got it right with so many of the couples that we were able to see. Um, some of them go miles and you could go through, where it didn't look like it was going to work to actually like we see the couples now hanging out with each other. Miles and Woody both, hanging out there, and Amelia and Bennett. I actually have a clip I want to play in a minute from Amelia and Bennett, but there are those huge successes and those huge misses. Can you tell us a little bit about the compatibility? That's another question that people were wanting to know. What do you guys do to actually put the work in to make sure that there is a foundation that these couples have, and why you feel like they will be compatible before you connect them?
Yeah. Well, out of all the thousands of people that we get, we first of all have to disqualify people based on a number of different reasons. We disqualify people, as I said earlier, who have children. We disqualify people who may have obviously some issues. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we ain't trying to deal with.
Right.
We, you know, normally people who are trying to be on TV. Well, I'm an actor. This is not that thing. Yeah. So we just after we do that, we go through a serious vetting process. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if a lot of people know this, but we go through it at least 3 months or more of vetting people before we choose them.
Oh, wow.
Look at their background. We do background checks. We look at their histories. We look at who they dated. I mean, they start off by filling out a 75 question questionnaire, and
Wow.
then just to sign on, just to be qualified. Then
Mm-hmm.
after that, they have to do a 500 question questionnaire, and that's when we find out most of the stuff from them.
Yeah.
People who go through that, they really want this.
Right.
So it ain't just like, hey, I want to be married at first sight. Okay, we choose you and you. No, it's so much. They have to sit in front of two psychologists,
Wow.
and be evaluated.
Mm-hmm.
Then we come in and we have to evaluate them, and we go through the vetting, and we talk to them on camera and off camera. Uh,
Okay.
Criminal background. I mean, it's just so much that we go through, and then we look at all their compatibilities. We do a comparison analysis where we look at their compatibilities, but we
Mm-hmm.
also look at their compatible differences.
Okay.
If one person is introverted, they might be looking for somebody to pull them out of their shell. Well, this
Mm-hmm.
might be a good difference. I just one thing, Christal. Quite often, people ask me, "Well, why don't we get an interracial couple?" Well, what's
Right.
that? Look, I'm not going to put two people together just because they have different races. Not
Right. Right.
because you're of a different race, you still have to be compatible.
Right.
And
Right.
so when you throw in the fact that people are, they might want somebody of a different race, but then we have to figure out, okay, but are you right for this person? Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm
Right.
glad for this upcoming season we finally found, two people who, we believe,
Right.
will fight.
Right.
So it's just so much. It's so much that we do, but we're happy with what the process has turned into, or how it has developed over the last 12 seasons.
Well, I think one of the biggest things that people think when they hear married at first sight is, oh my God, am I going to be attracted to them? And you've had
Uh,
some couples that have been able to get past the attraction, like maybe they weren't attracted to each other. And to me, those seem to be the ones that have the strongest foundation. And then you have some that aren't really able to get past that physical attraction. Can you talk a little bit about why that? Because you guys kind of counsel them through the fact that that physical attraction is not the most important thing, but then that intimacy is often so much attached to that physical attraction.
yeah, yeah. We ask people quite in depth what are they looking for physically, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and we try to fulfill that. Of course, I mean, look, we're not in a real laboratory where we can make things to a man,
Right.
And if you have some crazy thing like he got to be 6'2" and she got to have blonde hair and blue eyes. Look, dude, it's just a color, It ain't got nothing to do with character. But when it comes down to that whole physical attractiveness thing, um, it's important for them to let us know on what scale of importance that falls. Because if they say, well, I'm not really caught up with that, or she's got to be cute, she doesn't have to be beautiful. And I tell everybody, I said, look, if you've never dated a supermodel, we're not gonna find you one. Because, look, don't come to us trying to get somebody that you can't get on your own.
Right.
So that's not how this works.
That's a good point.
No, yeah. So it's kind of like, we try to fulfill those physical attraction requirements, but just because I might find a young lady, oh wow, she's an attractive woman. She, he'll be wow. But that's just based on what I know, and we even get pictures of their exes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, wow.
exes look like we
Mm-hmm.
might. This person is attractive, right? But then
Mm-hmm.
when they see them, there's so much that goes into that. They may not even find them attractive, and we're like,
Yeah.
well, I understand it because to us they're attractive, and to us they fit all the check marks, but it's sometimes a hit and a miss.
Right. Well, I want to, because we've seen you kind of get be very candid with some of the couples, right?
Ooh,
Which is great because it allows I think the viewer to realize that you're really in it trying to do the right thing and trying to make sure that this is a legitimate process.
yeah.
Are there any couples that you can share with us that you wish you had not have matched? Because I know for the last season or maybe the season
Come on,
before,
Christal, why you doing this to me?
I got to ask because there's some of them that you just think, wow. And I'll mention Amber just because we see that she just finally got her divorce,
I
and
know.
thank God for that. But are there any couples that you wish that you just were like, that was just we just should have abandoned ship before we got to the last the last show?
Let's start with Amber. First of all, I absolutely adore that young lady.
Yes.
I think Amber is so awesome, and which is why we chose her. I mean, even now, I'll send her a text or something, or I'll keep up with her to tell just how proud of the woman I am of the woman she's becoming. I think she's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the person who she married was not the person who he turned out to be later. I mean, it's like this guy that we saw, we thought he was respectful, we thought he was stable. Sure, he wasn't perfect, but we haven't seen any of those perfect people. But
Right.
we actually thought that would have been a good match. So it's not like going in, we were like, yeah, this ain't gonna work, but we're gonna do it anyway.
Right.
We actually thought it was gonna work. He turned out to be
Yeah.
a bum, man. And
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but I didn't. I can't say I can't think of anybody. Yeah, that would be the couple. Let me just say that because I don't want to.
Yeah.
But
Well, it was hard to watch her trying and watching her, crying a lot. There was one other couple that we saw, the young lady, I think with Luke, just trying and trying and trying, and she
yeah,
was getting hurt. But
yeah.
it's also real life. You see that happen in real life. Were you hanging in there, or is there couples where you're like, you know what,
Yeah.
I'm okay if this doesn't work?
Yeah, Matt and Amber, no, I did not want them to work. If she had said, yeah, I wanted to try it, I would have told her no. I don't support it. Same thing with Luke and Kate. Now, I do not think that Luke. I didn't think Luke was a bad person. I really don't. I think Luke just got in over his head. I just don't think he was ready. I think he convinced us that he was ready. He's very charming. He was ready. He's just very nice guy. He came across just so great. He just got in over his head, and then it was like he made all these stupid decisions. And again, he's not a bad person. People who know Luke know that he's not a bad guy.
Yeah,
he just made dumb decisions.
Right.
He just did.
Well, I think now I want to ask about one more couple before we move on to this season. Well, I don't think either one of these people were bad. I think they just weren't necessarily ready for.
I know where you're going.
The TV. Do you think so?
I bet you I do. Go ahead.
Brandon and Taylor.
Do it.
Pastor Cal, I kept hoping because I saw where they could have been good together, but I saw where Brandon had so many defenses up because he did not want to appear vulnerable, and Taylor was used to being. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and I felt like, wow, this is I don't know. It just got out of control. So what's your take on it? Do you agree with me that they just kind of got off, and then egos and everything got in the way, and it just went horribly?
Insecurity, pride, it derailed early, and I don't think that they were listening as to how to get it back on the tracks.
Right.
I think that for both of them, I did see effort at times for both of them, and I saw stubbornness from both of them.
Right.
To the point where it got to a point where they just became enemies, and it was unnecessary because they could have fixed that relationship.
Right.
I mean, they were physically attracted to each other.
They're
both good-looking people. They
were
physically attracted, and they even saw why we matched them. But I think because she was such a glamorous type person, and he was a good-looking guy, but I just don't think that his personal security was there.
Yeah, and he obviously was not used to being on television, and she was used to being on Instagram and being she was used to sharing her private life. He was definitely not.
Oh yeah, so that was one. Once we saw it derail, we were like, oh God, please get it back on the tracks.
Yeah.
Talked to them, but they did not have the stuff necessary to put it back.
Yeah. Well, again, like I said, you had some huge wins.
Thank you. Wins.
Huge wins. You have couples from this last season in New Orleans that people are really enjoying watching. Of course, I think Woody and Amani are probably need their own show because everybody from the beginning, I don't think I've seen a couple that were just that smitten with each other from the very beginning, from the first dance to the very end, up until, following them on IG and watching them. That's gotta feel good.
It feels awesome. I mean, I'll be honest with you. We thought they would get along. We thought they would do well. We didn't know if they would do that well.
Yeah.
They surprised us because we said, okay, this is a good match. Even though, tell you about our fans, our loving and loyal fans, a lot of them early on said, nope, they're not gonna make it. They're not gonna make it.
Wow.
Say something about that. I've heard, you'd be surprised, Christal, how many DMs and emails we get about why'd you match these people? Why'd you match these people? Since Shawnice and Jeffy. I mean, just on and on and on. For every couple that's made it, I've had somebody DMing me telling me how horrible I was and how dumb I was and how I call myself a pastor and all this. you know, and I just laugh and just say, God bless you, thank you. Because I mean, you know, look, it doesn't affect me.
Right.
But you know, these people, marriage has to, you have to go through the tough times.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
to go through the tough times.
And
And
that's what this show does. I agree with Pam. I did think Woody was a player when I first saw him, and that just proves how you make assumptions. But the thing I love about it is if most people had to be in a relationship, even if it was just 6 weeks without the option of leaving, and understanding that we have to make this work, I think more relationships would go the distance. I think we have this feeling that I can always get out. You know, divorce is always an option. I can always leave. Do you think that plays a part in, we see the couples? Well, you mentioned Jeff D and I can't think, what's her name? Yes, Shawnee's. Oh, they're so cute. But we saw them. If you guys didn't have them locked in, she would have been out of there.
On, and we talk to them. Yeah, here's what people don't know. We don't just talk to them on camera. I have been up to 2 a.m. on the phone talking to people. And I can name couples, and you'd be surprised at how much time Dr. Pepper, myself, Dr. Viviana, and the previous experts, how much we have spent just time. My wife is like, honey, you still on the phone? Yes. I gotta help I gotta call these, I gotta talk them off the ledge.
Yeah.
And so many times, even with our New Orleans couple, same thing.
Yeah.
We talk just exhaustively with them, you know, to help.
Well, that one was a little different because they were there. I'm gonna say I did not think Miles and Karen were gonna make it. Yeah, you gotta.
That was my couple. I love them.
Tell us what is the lesson that we can learn? Because I mean, people were so hard on Karen because it was obvious that she had a lot of defenses up, and she was just not open to moving as quickly as the viewers wanted her to move. Miles hung in there, and you could see he really, really, really was just into her. And then there was a time when he was like, almost like, okay, now, you know, are you coming around? What do you think the lesson?
Yeah.
What is the lesson in that couple for us?
Here's a lesson with Miles and Karen. First of all, patience. There's no replacement for patience.
Wow.
No replacement for it. You have to believe in a person, and your belief in a person can actually transform them. You know, he did not give up on her. Now, he was frustrated. He was tired, but he believed in the core of who she was.
Right.
And that belief in and of itself helped to transform their relationship. And also, it wasn't that she didn't want him or that she needed time. Patience is so important in a relationship, and just patience and understanding. And the beautiful thing about Miles is that he was never mean.
Yeah.
He was never mean. He was never disrespectful. He understood her sensitivities. He understood her boundaries, and he worked within those boundaries to woo her in. And she also had boundaries, very stable boundaries.
Very stable.
Understood. Yeah. And she understood that, look, I'm going to get there, but I need you to be there with me until I do, until I'm comfortable.
Right. Right.
And all the fans who were just pissed off at her, look, here's my thing. And I believe I went in private counseling, marriage conferences, or what have you. Same philosophy. You can't be madder at someone's spouse than they are.
A lot of people were madder at Karen than Miles.
Than Miles was. And I'm like, look, if Miles is okay with it, if Miles is hanging in there with it, if he's being patient, well, what right do we have to tell him, nah, you need to give up that dude? I mean, I get the TV for part of it. I get that. Right. Still, you can't be angrier than the official spouse.
I think people saw that he had such class. He carried himself, you know, as such a class act. And even real quickly, the mentions that he was very honest about struggling with depression. That was huge to see African-American man, young, good looking, successful, to admit that he struggles with that. I thought it was very brave of him. And I think it probably started great conversation, but how that's not always received from, you know, others as strength. And I think people really took offense to the fact that might have been taken as a weakness, right?
And I think that was taken a little bit out of context, honestly, because her response, look, you can only get so much into editing.
Right.
And so they could not give but so much attention to that. But her response was more compassionate, much more compassionate than you would have thought by just seeing that little clip.
Right.
She was
Right.
not disrespectful or dispassionate about his struggles.
Right. Right.
Not,
well, I wanted to show a clip, but I ran out of time because I don't have you very much longer. But I wanted to show a clip of Amelia and Bennett and what was going on in your head when Bennett revealed. You know what? The clip, I'm trying to pull it up. It's just it's not it's taking a minute. But
just tell me, what was it?
Well, it was the clip where Bennett he is. Let me see if I can pull it up. Right when we got to decision day. And he's letting you guys know that what his answer is and what Bennett chose to do, the surprise that he chose to use as a way to share. Hold on, I may have it here because this is priceless. I think this was like one of the favorite MAFS moments. His unveiling of how he was going to share with both you all and Amelia that he had chosen to stay in the relationship was priceless. What was going on in your head?
When dude started taking his pants down, you know, I was like, man, dude, I don't know what you want to show her as far as your commitment, but this is the wrong show for that. And it was a surprise. It was a total surprise for all of us.
Right.
Put us a tattoo. I was like, you know, that. Hey, look, he jumped in with both feet.
He jumped in. That couple again, another one of my favorites because they're so adorable.
I didn't agree. That's Dr. Pepper. I give her all the credit for that. I did not agree. I did not. I thought I gave in to her wisdom.
Okay.
I was like, dude's a pedicab driver. He's an artist. She's a doctor. Come on. You know, and then I must admit I was a little short-sighted with that one, but that's why we have three of us.
That's why. Well, I'm going to play this real quickly just so the audience can see this moment.
Oh, I thought he was taking off his pants.
He might be.
Not. It's okay.
Oh my
gosh.
Oh my
What is that?
It's a tattoo.
It's a tattoo.
Yeah, so my answer is yes. I would love to stay married.
I love you a lot, and you now have my initials tattooed on your butt. So, yeah, of course, I definitely want to stay married.
Thank goodness she said yes.
Thank goodness she said yes.
Yes, that boy. But yeah, that was priceless. I mean, it looked like it was infected, but
it didn't look great from what we saw.
Like a tattoo.
God bless him.
You got a prison tattoo on your side.
Well, I want to ask you a couple more questions. Number one, what can we expect? We know we're in a brand new season, and we are here in Atlanta. You are here in my city of Atlanta.
My city too. I live in Atlanta.
Do you give marriage counseling here in Atlanta? We're getting questions about that. Do you give counseling here in Atlanta?
I do when time permits.
Right. Okay. Awesome. So yes, if you can get on Pastor Kyle's schedule, which I'm sure is pretty busy, he does do that here. So what can we expect from season 12 of Married at First Sight?
I'm so darn excited about this season. We're going to everything you would expect from a good movie. You're going to get drama. You're going to get comedy. You're going to get suspense. You're going to get horror.
Horror.
Horror. I mean, you know, all with the absolute best intentions. I mean, we're all expecting. I mean, these every couple was hungry for love. I can say that without question. Nobody was in this for the wrong reason. But I think that some of the twists and turns that we've seen here have just surprised us.
Yeah.
You know? But there's going to be a lot of oohs, a lot of ahs, a lot of that.
Right.
I can't wait.
Didn't tell us much. That did not give us much, Pastor.
Nope. Sure didn't.
You didn't give us much.
Did
Before
not.
I let you go, can you give me some just advice? Obviously, there's a lot of people watching. A lot of people really appreciate the advice that you share with the couples. If you could just give some relationship advice for people that are married or people that are looking to be married, from what you see going on in the world right now, we're all going through a lot. Everybody is dealing with a lot of stress. I'm sure relationships are stressed. There's people going through financial issues, just stress of being, all the political things that we're seeing causes a lot of stress on us, which causes a lot of stress on our relationships. So can you share some advice for couples out there?
Yeah, learn how to handle conflict. I think we're living in a time when we're seeing conflict, like you said, socio-political conflict, and all this stuff sort of peters down. I've never lived in a time when politics affected couples and affected people as much as it is. I mean, relationships are destroyed now based on how our socio-political viewpoints. And I believe that we have to learn to separate the problem from the person.
Right.
And that's what I tell couples all the time. When there is an issue, take that issue and put it on the shelf. Don't attach it to the person, and study that issue objectively and realize that both parties contributed to it. Okay? You may only be 95% responsible for the issue. Your spouse may be, or your significant other may only be 5%, or whatever the percentage may be, 80-20, 75-25, whatever it is. You may have different percentages of responsibility for that challenge, but understand that you are 100% responsible for whatever your percentage is.
Wow.
So even if you're only 5% responsible for blowing all your money on something stupid, you are 100% responsible for that 5%. So don't focus on that 95. Focus on your 5.
Focus on what you're accountable for
on your challenges. Okay.
Absolutely.
Attack the issue without attacking the person. I mean, Wendy and I, we practice that. And that'll be in my book coming up later this year. Okay.
Well, you definitely have to come back, Pastor Cal. Please come back when you have the book, because we definitely will definitely enjoy going through that with you. You do great work. People really enjoy what you do. You and Dr. Pepper and all the experts there, we really appreciate the show. Feels very authentic. In a way that really is a celebration of love, and we appreciate that. So let people know when they can see the new season of Married at First Sight on Lifetime.
We are this coming Wednesday at 8 p.m. What is that? Eastern time. Yes, I'm actually in Central Time right now. Yes, but definitely, only on Lifetime.
Only on Lifetime. And are you guys going to do another Second Chances? Do you think we're going to see another one of those? I don't know about
that. I can't say, but.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time, Pastor Cal. We'll look forward to having you come back with that book, and of course to tuning in every Wednesday for Married at First Sight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, Married at First Sight is one of my favorite shows. I love the authenticity of, just working through relationships. I think all of us can learn something from that. Marriage is really more about relationships, period, really more about what you're able to put in as opposed to what you're able to get out. And that show definitely chronicles that. I appreciate you for hanging out with me here on Reality Check. Of course, you can catch me again here every Monday at 8 p.m. or you can catch me on Fridays as well at 10 p.m. where we do a recap. We have a very special recap coming up on Friday. It's all about love and relationships, and it's your reality check. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I don't know what you're doing. You need to subscribe right now. And of course, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for hanging out. Enjoy the rest of your evening. This is Christal Jordan, and I'll see you guys next time.